Right now at 10, damage from possible tornadoes in central Illinois. We have the pictures of the areas hardest hit, including Sherman and Sangamon County, the shocking scenes tonight, and the latest on any injuries.
Plus, what else the strong storms brought to the area? Hail. Large hail. Just how big and the damage done to vehicles.
Plus, the storms won't stop the original Friday Frenzy, our sports team with highlights from games played tonight, and our Athlete of the Week.
First tonight on WAND News at 10, damaging tornadoes and storms rock central Illinois tonight.
What a night it has been. The massive line spanning the viewing area took out power lines, trees, even tearing apart multiple buildings and homes.
That's right. WAND has team coverage for you tonight in the area's hardest hit.
We start tonight with Alyssa Patrick. She's in Sangamon County, where a house is leveled tonight. Parts of the road even blocked off by downed trees and power lines.
She joins us from Riverton now, where a daycare actually is damaged. Alyssa, what are you seeing?
Yeah, that's right, Dawn. Some of that video that you were just seeing heading into Sherman, that's some of those major power line that you saw down across the area. Actually difficult to get into Sherman right now because of that very severe damage. As you said, a house leveled and significant damage there. We talked with Sheriff Jack Campbell, and he says thankfully no injuries or fatalities were reported there, though they are dealing with a ranch situation where 32 horses are now actually missing. But back here in Riverton, just a few minutes to the east, you can see this daycare here, major damage. The roof completely destroyed, the inside absolutely damaged here. Very, very significant at this point. Still actually windy out here as well. And let me tell you, as we were driving across Sangamon County, as soon as you get off the interstate, you're going to see those down trees, those down power lines. So it is very dangerous to get around right now. And as I said, still windy out here. A lot of crews out working. Back as we were talking about Sherman, the sheriff telling us a ton of first responders out there working tonight. So asking folks to avoid that area if you can. Stay home if you're able to. This is definitely going to be a long cleanup process as crews continue their work, so we're asking everyone to stay safe if possible. Reporting live in Riverton, Alyssa Patrick, WAND News.
Alyssa, thanks. These are locations among several areas reporting damage across central Illinois tonight. That are scenes kind of playing out tonight, right, Jim?
Absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised, even as the light of day returns tomorrow, in around places such as Stonington, even up toward Rantoul, with that massive accident possibly caused by tornadic activity, that we're going to see a lot more in terms of damage, and that's unfortunate. The severe weather has bypassed us, just some leftover showers along the Indiana border for the time being. But even as Alyssa mentioned, we're not out of the woods in the wind department. We have a wind advisory in play until 1 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Winds are still going to be able to gust 40 to 50 miles an hour. Some of the peak today, look at Champaign at 71. Holy cow, that's almost hurricane strength. So obviously, we have issues on our Flooring America camera with the wet weather, and the wind stays up all night long tonight. It'll diminish tomorrow night. We'll take a closer inspection of that coming up in a little bit from now. Dawn?
You can already see outages popping up across the area, all these little blobs right here. Each map on the icon symbolizes a house without power. And right now, there currently are 29,311 customers without power right now. That's changed from 28,000 just an hour ago. Again, there is approximately 30,000 homes without power right now.
All right, more on the storms in a moment. We'll get to some other news making news tonight. Since 6, we now know the name of the 51-year-old man who was stabbed to death in Urbana yesterday. Champaign County coroner identifies him as Robert Cavett of Urbana. Died of a stab wound to the chest. Cavett found injured inside a home on South Smith Road in Urbana yesterday morning. Police are investigating as of tonight, and no arrests have been made. New tonight, a push to prevent wrongful convictions. Dozens of local police cadets getting a special training so they can avoid wrongful convictions. It's led by the Illinois Innocence Project. The Urbana-Champaign Police Training Cadets packed the Wyndham for the session. It's designed to teach recruits about the most common pitfalls that lead to a wrongful conviction. One speaker took the training to a new level, shared his experience after he spent 15 years behind bars for a crime he did not commit.
Going through that experience and being home, you realize that it's not just you. It's a whole community of people that have been affected by this wrongful conviction. That's my passion, right? To get out here and be a voice for the voiceless, and be a voice for the people that can't get out here and do what we're doing now, because it's something that needs to be changed.
Most common factors leading to a wrongful conviction include false confessions, eyewitnesses, and misidentification.
Still ahead, it's the last day of Women's History Month. You're going to hear from a local woman breaking barriers in her field. Celebrating on this last day of Women's History Month. Over the past decade, there's been an increase in women entering the STEM workforce. In fact, at least 1 in 6 jobs, STEM jobs, are held by women.
However, experts say there's room for growth. WAND's Karen Eisert sat down with the Senior Vice President of Global Operations for ADM as she shares her journey during Women's History Month.
Women make up nearly 50% of the American workforce, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. But only 30% of them enter manufacturing.
I think I'm at that position where now I'm looking back and seeing who I can pull forward, right?
Meet Veronica Breaker. She's the Senior Vice President of Global Operations for ADM. After graduating with a degree in chemical engineering, Breaker entered a male-dominant field. The U.S. Census Bureau says nearly 70% of the manufacturing workforce is made up of men.
So now as I've gotten into it, all the rewards that it's given me personally, professionally, then I'm out there also encouraging other young women.
The drive and inspiration. Breaker credits her mother, who was the first woman to climb a telephone pole.
It was her encouragement, and as I chose internships through college, you know, I have a sister, so it's 2 of us. My sister's also an engineer, so she's a civil engineer. So she raised 2 women in STEM because that was her passion.
Breaker is responsible for operations centers at ADM globally. She feels it's important for her now to inspire the next generation of young women.
See it, be it, right? Because people can dream. Please dream.
So as we celebrate Women's History Month, Breaker says it's time to reflect and see just how far we've come.
In order to thrive in any community, it takes all of us. You want the completeness of having both genders involved and allowing you to thrive.
Indicator, Karen Eisert, WAND News.
You can read more about Breaker's story in depth at WANDTV.com.
Now on WAND News, another look at the powerful storms that ripped through. Take a look at this lightning. It lit up the sky in Harristown. You can really see just how much electricity was in the air.
Check it out. Fulton County hail big enough to dent cars. Take a look at the damage. This was some of the first destruction spotted this afternoon as those storms rolled in. As we know, hail is often a prequel to severe weather, Jim.
Sure is, especially once it gets over quarter size. Now, it's still warm outside, but that's not the way it's going to go down for the remainder of the nighttime hours. I'll have an update on the temps and the wind when I come back.
taking the storm seriously. As Jim mentioned, when you see a storm coming your way, your best bet is to put as many walls as possible between yourself and the oncoming dangerous storm. Here's a viewer photo. Bella Nelson, indicator, showing putting the advice into practice, as you can see. She even wore a softball helmet sitting in the bathtub to stay safe. I mean, you know, you might giggle at that, Jim, but hey, you say way to go. Way to take it seriously. Do what you have to do.
Absolutely. A+ right there. That's exactly. Who cares if you look silly? You want to save your life, right?
Good job, Bella. Hopefully
Absolutely.
others follow your lead.
Awesome stuff right there. Hey, colder weather, though, coming back in from the northwest, already into the 30s in Des Moines. So here's how the remainder of the night plays out in terms of our temperatures. Oh, yeah. So we saw our Flooring America temp check just earlier, and now look at that, all the way down into the 30s. Hey, take note of how the feels like temperature drops off into the 20s. That's because we're not done in the wind department just yet. So wind gusts, and take note, at 6 o'clock, you know, you got some gusts still 40 plus miles per hour, and that's going to continue on in through the midday hours and the afternoon. Finally, with the setting sun tomorrow night, that wind will calm down. But that's not until tomorrow night. We do have leftover showers once you get to Cumberland County, over toward western Edgar County, also over northeastern portions of the Iroquois. But these are just showers. The damage is done from the severe storms. They are out of here. They are not returning. Clouds will thin out from west to east for a time, but then the clouds roll back in again toward daybreak, because this guy right here, yeah, little rain snow shower action. It's not going to be all that big of a deal. But after today, to see a snowflake tomorrow, that is spring, bar none. Crazy right there. Well, the cold air isn't going to last long. It's going to warm up again starting Sunday afternoon, Palm Sunday afternoon. So clouds thin out. There's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a little, I'll even call it a sprinkle flurry. It's not all that big of a deal, but it's in during the daylight hours and mostly morning, midday, early afternoon, sparse coverage. Look at 3:30. Clearing skies coming on in. So we clear things out late tomorrow night, getting the stage set for a sunny Palm Sunday, and we're going to ditch the wind tomorrow night. So it'll feel a lot better. Roto-Rooter Precipcast. Hardly anything in terms of additional precipitation as we roll on in through the nighttime hours. I jumped over a graphic, see if I can go back to it. And we'll find out in a little bit. There we go. So here's what we're looking at in terms of nighttime low temperatures, but the wind is going to make it feel about a good 8, 9, 10 degrees below these numbers. That's what you want to dress for on the way out the door. Similar bet tomorrow. Feels like temperatures are closer to 40 because winds are over 40 miles an hour. Remember, 40 miles an hour for the wind, 40 for the feels like temperature in the afternoon. Clouds will win out over the amount of sunshine for most of the day. Then we clear things out from west to east later in the day and at night. Now, Sunday, Palm Sunday, lots of sunshine. Awesome afternoon. But this is all a cleanup operation, unfortunately, for some of us over the next couple of days. The wind doesn't help us tomorrow. Sunday will. Clouds roll back in Sunday night into Monday. Hit-miss rain showers, no big deal there. But same airflow out of the Gulf of Mexico. Same storm track initially coming in from the west. However, as we head on into late Tuesday night, the storm lifts up closer toward Wisconsin as opposed to northern Illinois. While I certainly think there can be severe weather Tuesday night, I don't think the coverage area would be nearly as great as what we had today. But that's a thorn into the side. We'll dry things out Wednesday, briefly cooler before we warm things up again the following Friday, and we'll be back with more after this.
Well, let's get back to our coverage of the storm damage in central Illinois, situation there in Rantoul tonight.
Yeah, certainly cars piled up on the interstate. WAND's Karen Eisert is at the scene. Karen, what do you know?
Well, it's a line of red here along Interstate 57. We're just north of Rantoul, where we're told that there's been a multiple vehicle crash. Like I said, behind me, you can just see red lights on top of red lights. What we're told is a multiple vehicle crash involving a tour bus, semis, and even multiple vehicles. And what Illinois State Police are saying is that 3 people have already been transported to the hospital, but with non-life-threatening injuries. We're told that this is going to take several hours to clean up along Interstate 57. Anyone who's headed northbound or southbound is asked to take a different route. We'll continue to keep you updated with this crash and as details emerge. Reporting live in Champaign County, I'm Karen Eisert, WAND News.
Friday. The original Friday Frenzy, presented by Pepsi, starts now.
Oh yeah, welcome to the original Friday Frenzy. Several of our local teams, of course, had games postponed due to that severe weather, but a few were still able to make it out and play. Let's start at the softball field. MacArthur hosting Mount Zion. The Braves brought the big bats. Dakota Harrison hammers one to left. That's way out of here. Mount Zion starts to build a lead. The Generals not giving in, though. Look at this play. Chloe Knowles ranging to her left and making the throw across her body to first to get the runner, but the Braves would be too much. Kennedy Hiley going to hit a hot shot to right field. Another run scores. Mount Zion would go on to defeat MacArthur 15-0. Now let's head to the baseball diamond. Mount Pulaski traveling to take on Clinton. Landon Smith with a runner on. Hits a bouncer through the left side of the infield. The run comes home. That makes it 1-0. The Maroons looking to answer down 2. Mason Walker with a line drive to left. That RBI single cuts the deficit in half. The Hilltoppers, though, respond. Evan Cooper with a grounder to shortstop. Maroons try for the double play, but it's not in time. Mount Pulaski adds a few more as the Hilltoppers take down Clinton 12-1. And how awesome is this, folks? Monticello announced that they will be having a ribbon cutting on April 12th for their brand new soccer complex. The ceremony will start at 4:30 with the game against Eisenhower scheduled to start around 5 o'clock. Well, folks, we're just getting started on this edition of the Friday Frenzy. Coming up, we'll announce our WAND Athlete of the Week. Who are they and why were they chosen? Those answers and more after the break.
Athlete of the Week, presented by CEFCU.
Welcome back to part 2 of the Friday Frenzy. It's time to announce our WAND Athlete of the Week. Drum roll, please. It's Ryan Crum from Springfield High. Take it away, Jay.
Baseball is a special kind of game. Every spring, the freshness of the air brings life to the sport. It's the early season and Springfield High is still getting acclimated to playing outdoors in the elements, but certain players are simply happy to be back on the diamond. One player in particular has America's pastime coursing through his veins, with several members of his family being former players. His name is Ryan Crum.
He knows what we're about, he knows what the expectations are, and the others look to him for that kind of leadership and, hey, what do we do here, what do we do there, and he's been through that.
Ryan has been a 3-year starter for the Senators, playing arguably the most challenging position on the field, first base. And when he's not in the field, Ryan's just as effective in the batter's box. But hitting dingers isn't on his mind in every at-bat.
My mindset going into pitching is hitting a line drive right through the pitcher. Home runs come every once in a while. My goal is low line drives and hitting those opposite field gap shots.
Head coach Jim Steinwert has seen plenty of special players come through in his 36-year career coaching the Senators. Yet him and Ryan have a unique connection which has only strengthened since they claimed the program's first ever state title in 2021.
I think what's been fun for me is he and I are the only lefties, and I did the same thing. I was a little bit of a pitcher and a first baseman as well. It's kind of the one area I can relate directly with him just because I did it as well.
It's great. I mean, he's been coaching since I think 1985. He's got a lot of experience, and you can tell whenever he's on the baseball field, he knows what he's doing. And like you look at the state year, he was switching pitchers in and out all the time, and he definitely knew what he was doing there. We all thought it was weird, but it ended up winning us a state championship. It's fun being around somebody with that much wisdom and experience in the game of baseball.
Reporting for WAND Sports, I'm Jake Bedell.
Thanks, Jake. Now, if you know of an athlete who is doing great things either on or off their playing surface, send us an email to news@wandtv.com.
Team of the Week, presented by Orthopedic Center of Illinois.
Well, it's time to square in on our Team of the Week. This Friday is the Tri-City Sangamon Valley Mount Pulaski softball team. The Tornadoes have played just 2 full games this season due to weather, but did win both, each by the score of 16-0. This is a team that returned several players from last year's squad that made it all the way to the 2A sectional final round. The Tornadoes' next scheduled game is Tuesday at Pawnee.
WAND's Play of the Day is presented by Menards.
First-year Illini women's basketball head coach Shauna Green is up for a national honor. Listen to this, folks. She was named a WBCA Coach of the Year finalist. This comes after Green helped the Orange and Blue to one of their biggest turnarounds in program history. Illinois went from 7-20 last season to 22-10 overall this year, and the team made the NCAA tournament for the first time in 20 seasons. Sticking with the Illini women's basketball squad, Makira Cook was named a WBCA Coaches All-America Honorable Mention. This comes after a season where the junior guard started 30 games, averaged over 33 minutes per game, and averaged 18.3 points per game. Cook shot 41.4% from the field and knocked down 86.6% of her free throws. Now to the MLB. White Sox on the road taking on Houston, 1-0 Chicago when they add to it. Eloy Jimenez hits a line drive to right center field. That goes all the way to the wall. A run scores. It's 2-0. On the next pitch, it's Yoan Moncada. That one's deep to right center. One hops over the wall for a ground rule double. That scores another, but the Sox would blow their lead. 3-2, bases loaded when Yordan Alvarez smacks it to left. That goes off the wall, clears the bases. Astros rally to defeat the White Sox 6-3. And while it's been a wild night for sports, it's been even more hectic day in the weather world. Dawn, Sean, over to you for one last look at the latest coverage.
Thanks a lot. We're getting another look at the storm damage in central Illinois tonight.
Yeah, WAND's Phil Collins on air keeping you safe all evening. He joins us live now. Phil, you've been driving around central Illinois.
Latham area.
Yeah, central Illinois. What are you seeing?
Well, it was only 5 hours, but it was a long 5 hours across central Illinois. Homes were destroyed, families now trying to pick up the pieces that remain, but it's all about Central Illinois and what we do moving forward. It's about the moments of recovering. It's about the moments of building from this point moving forward. Now is the time to embrace your family. Now is the time to embrace your friends and those who are impacted. But most importantly, now it's the time to understand that we are one community across Central Illinois, and it's about building back, because homes can be rebuilt, but it's also about the recovery, both mentally and in some cases possibly physically, across Central Illinois as those storms continue to roll through. Tornado report after tornado report, from Sherman up towards Bloomington area all the way down towards Rantoul, and of course severe thunderstorm after severe thunderstorm. It was an absolutely miserable night across Central Illinois for both meteorologists and for you as a viewer across the area as well. It's something that we don't want to see. It's something that we do not want to report on. But unfortunately, it's the reality of the situation. But it's also why we relay this information days in advance, so you have the time to prepare, hours in advance, so you have the time to prepare. And it's about getting that message urgently to everyone. And we could not do it without the help of National Weather Service, from everyone behind the scenes, from you as a viewer for sending in the reports to us here at WAND News. But overall, Central Illinois, it's about what we do moving forward and how we can be there for each other. Live in Latham, I'm meteorologist Phil Collins.
Well said, Phil. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
And, Karen mentioned 3 injured north of Rantoul.
Right.
Just at the Apollo
Which
Theater.
Which is a miracle, really.
Right, absolutely.
For what it really looks like out there.
We saw the Apollo Theater just east of Rockford, Illinois, out of our coverage area, but 1 confirmed death. Yep. And so that could happen.
Seeing a performance.
Right,
there.
and all those homes in Sherman, are there injuries there?
No, none reported. So the sheriff said no. Yeah. So great news there.
Well, in that sense, we've come out pretty much.
And that's why you stay on the air.
Absolutely.
I mean, people hear it and hear it and hear it and hear it, but once it's in your neighborhood, you need to hear it.
Definitely, without a doubt.
Thanks for heeding the warnings, and thanks for tuning to us to keep you safe tonight.
That's right. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Good night.